to episode 299 of Backpacking America. I'm here with Dr. Kat Powell at Powerful Physical Therapy in Patchogue. This is a really cool spot. If you're into physical therapy and you're into physical fitness, this is the place to be. She's got a really cool setup in the other room, which you probably saw at the beginning of the episode. So definitely follow her on Instagram, check out her website, call her, book an appointment. You will not regret it. Dr. Kat, welcome to Backpacking America.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. So tell everyone a little bit about you. Like, how did you start getting into physical therapy? What motivated you to help people?
All right. Well, I was a student athlete, so I grew up playing soccer, basketball, and lacrosse. Had my share of injuries, and it was actually in 9th grade. I came down from a rebound, tore the ligaments of my ankle, and needed surgery. And the day I was told that, my grandma passed away.
Oh, wow.
So then it was not just physical anymore compared to like my past injuries. There was also this emotional component and grief where I couldn't work it out the same way because I was now on crutches. And, the physical therapist at the time helped me get back on the field. I emotionally had to work through stuff in a different way. And then I was like, wow, injuries are not just physical, but they're emotional too, because we take away something that we're used to doing. And so from that point on, I was like, I want to help others just as he had helped me. And so I never had a plan B. I was on physical therapy track from that point on, still had multiple injuries after that. And so I can really relate to a lot of patients, whether it's concussions, torn ligaments, ankle sprains, broken bones, etc. And so I went, I played sports in college as well, knowing though I'd still go off to PT school after. And after PT school, got out in the clinic, all excited. Never thought I'd be in business for myself because I was like, I just love people. I love helping them. And but then I started seeing the issues with standard care and that it was just falling short and I didn't have enough time with people. So next thing you know, I start doing this on the side so I can treat people who either have chronic conditions or get, these injuries time to time. And the insurance is like, well, you're good enough. You can get your shirt on. And they're not approving any more visits because they know what's best for patients, not their provider or the person themselves.
Yeah.
And so then next thing you know, I'm going down this rabbit hole and now we're here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that kind of reminds me of how I got into calisthenics because I got injured. And like every athlete, injuries happen.
Yeah.
And it isn't emotional because I couldn't lift anymore. I could only do like pull-ups and push-ups and everything else hurt. So it's like a lot of grappling with your mind when you're incapacitated. Yeah. Even when you can't do your day-to-day, like I couldn't even drive with this hand. I had to like drive with both hands or like this.
Or brush your teeth with the other arm.
Yeah.
Like little things that it's just like, oh, I have to think before I can just do.
And it's limiting.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, I can't. And then it gets in your head that you can't do.
Yeah.
And then when you go back to it and you're going to do the thing that hurt yourself, it's like, do I do it again?
Well, and that too, every injury, especially after the bigger injuries, I'd say, I've had a lot of minor injuries that, as most athletes, we just like suck it up, we tape it up, we just keep pushing through. Not always the best.
We don't recommend that for everybody.
We don't know, but I understand when it does happen. But then the bigger injuries where it's like, no, I really had to adhere to the post-op protocol. I needed to be smart with the tissues to not re-injure. Once I was fully cleared to do, knowing the tissues are healed, that we're not concerned about jumping, running, cutting, there was still a hesitation. And then hesitation can lead to more injuries because like you have to play hard, especially as an athlete. And so if you're going in like scared to a tackle, there's more chance you'll get hurt versus going in hard. And so that too was overcoming that fear of re-injury again and over and over. And I have so many people, again, whether it's on the field and something like that occurred and getting back onto it, whether they trip down the stairs. And so then it's like each time you come to the stairs, it's like, you get fearful. What if I fall again? What if I break something? My mom slipped and fell off a step stool trying to close the window in the kitchen, broke her wrist. And she's okay now. This was a little while ago. She's now, though, afraid to go on step stools if no one's home. So it's like these are all the emotional factors that come into injuries, even once we're better, once we're fine and doing again, and our body stores things, whether we're conscious of it or not. And so that's where the whole mind-body connection is so powerful. And it's not just addressing, again, the physical components of it, but also overcoming those emotional hurdles as well.
Oh, yeah. And even like when you're, in a lesser example, when you're tired and you know you didn't get enough sleep, even though you may have the strength to lift a weight or to do a certain activity, your mind just psychs you out. Even though physically you can do it, you know you can do it. It's the mental, like, can I? How do you help your clients that are recovering from these injuries get back their mental power to do it again?
I would say it's more so starting to trust your body again. And so we do activities that they'll have success with. Or sometimes I also tell them, I was like, listen, we're going to challenge you here. It's like, I don't know if you can lift that weight either. And as long as it's safe, of course. And it's like, let's try it. And more often than not, they're so like thrilled, like, oh, I didn't expect that I could do that. And I was like, see, your body is strong. It is resilient. It can do this. And it's just like giving them moments where they think they can't do it. And then they actually see they can. And then that starts to build the confidence momentum in whatever they do going forward. And it's just, again, it's kind of like retraining the body, retraining the mind, and encouragement, and I would say that's another unfortunate part about traditional care right now, where it's so, in healthcare, there's so many people who get gaslit, who get talked down to, who get their symptoms dismissed, and more people just need to be heard and just need to be listened to of like, we have these genuine issues. And I was like, there's never a weird symptom. I was like, tell me more than less, because the body's connected, and you might say, I don't know how to describe this. This might sound funny. And it's like, no, and I might tell you, oh, I've actually had 6 other people tell me a similar experience. So it's not in your head. You're not crazy. This is a genuine issue. And that's where that too helps building trust with people, trusting themselves. Because I always tell people, your body best. Providers, we're here to help and facilitate and like give you a path, but you're going to do the walk. Like you're going to, do the work to get there. And that sometimes needs more trust and confidence in the self.
Absolutely. And, even with like, it's funny you say that about with healthcare, where gaslighting, being treated like crap. I mean, absolutely, especially in retirement homes, even like a lot of it's gender-based too. And it's really sad. It really is. And that's why I put like such an emphasis on people should always just work out and keep moving, because I feel at least, a lot of injuries and a lot of serious health conditions result from not moving, and also a lack of purpose, which is, a lot of people get sick or die after they retire because they're not moving. They have nothing to stimulate the mind. Yeah. A lot of people's idea of retirement is sitting on a couch until they pass.
Or it was that they were going to they're saving it for retirement, but then through those decades are becoming sickly because they're not prioritizing health and wellness. And I get it, phases of life. And this is also where I tell people, listen, I'm not here to shame you for not doing your exercises. I have some people who are like, I'm showing up to you because I'm not going to do it on my own. And I'm like, I'm here to help you. I was like, I will do that. Other people are like doing everything at home. And I was like, that helps. I was, I'm always encouraging people to fit in whatever you can with your schedule. If you're a new parent, you don't have the same amount of sleep or the same amount of time as someone who doesn't have a newborn. Your schedule is going to be different, and it's okay. So it's finding whatever you can that works for your lifestyle and your current situation.
Yeah. Even like there's days where I can't go to the gym and I have a pull-up bar. And it's like one of those where you can do the pull-up and then you take it down and it's like a push-up thing.
Oh, okay, nice.
So it's like, you get a quick pump in. You get your blood flowing.
Something.
It's just something to keep, you have to keep your body flexible, mobile, and your blood moving in that capacity. Especially if you're in a field where you're just sitting in a chair doing your work, which is like half of what I do. I mean, there's some parts, like obviously I'm setting up the studio. But, there's a big portion of my day where I'm sitting in a chair. Yeah. You have to move. And that eliminates, it's great for your cardiac health. It cuts down on cancer, especially when you're doing weightlifting and weight training. Because of all the cell growth in your body that comes from doing a workout, you actually produce healthier cells. There's human growth hormone that gets produced especially when you do legs. Your leg muscles have so much hormonal, I don't even know what you would call it, like hormonal balance or something. But there's so much good stuff in your legs.
Yeah.
Please don't skip leg day.
Don't skip leg day. That
Don't
and
do
it's
it.
we're designed to move, and we're designed to be strong, and like we commute in a car, we sit on a computer, our current lifestyle based off of society's advancements, which has its pros and cons, though, has been predisposing more people to less movement. But our bodies are meant to move. And that's where, working the legs, working the core, just getting a sweat. Again, mind-body connection. It all feels better when you actually move, or you can mitigate some of those secondary diseases or, that are due to lifestyle choices.
Don't smoke.
Yeah. So, like, simple. And, and it's just like, but it's always easier said than done.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, and you also, what's great about what you do is you find creative ways to get people into moving. Like you do something really cool on the beach, getting people moving, and it also involves mimosas.
That's more the sell, which also might not be the healthiest option either, but everything in moderation. That's where...
Listen, I did 20 pull-ups blasted out of my mind at the Marine Corps recruiting station during Alive at 5. Yeah. I did like 20 of them, and I was like 6 shots deep. Yeah. It worked. You're still getting a pump in. You know what I mean? Like, that's all that matters.
You got movement. Yeah, you got movement. So that's where, we have fun, and that's also the balance. It can't be all work and no play. You have to find also like activities that people enjoy. And that's where it does. So it doesn't have to be a formal gym workout. Some people love the gym. You like the gym.
I love the gym.
It feels good. I like fitness classes. I'm someone who, again, I told you before, I was like, I can sit on the floor in my living room and do a yoga video. To me, I just always want to move. There's a lot of people who hate movement, or they and that's fine. Or I was teaching anatomy for hot yoga teacher training, and one of the people, when I was asking what do people do activity-wise besides yoga, one of them was like, I literally hate everything else. I love yoga. So that's what she does. And I was like, that's better than no movement. Now, granted, we can have a whole nother discussion on overuse and specialization and, and activities. Like, variety is always best. But if you're moving over not moving because you love a sport or an activity, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be a sport. It doesn't have to be, it's just, you find whatever's going to actually help you move throughout the day.
And eventually you'll come to the balance.
Yes.
Like for me, I used to skateboard all the time.
Yeah.
And I stopped because I was like, okay, I'm going to the gym 5 days a week and now I'm skating. And it's like, I have to be an adult too.
Yeah. It's like that real world thing that you have to work to. You can't just do all like play. Yeah.
I know, which sucks. I wish I could get paid like that. But I really started going to the gym and doing weightlifting because I was 22 and I was moving out of my apartment. And my dad was helping me. And I had a box full of my dishes. I was 120 pounds. And I couldn't lift the box of dishes.
Yeah.
And I was like, at the time, I thought I was going to move out of my house within 6 months of graduating. That did not happen. So bills,
reality,
employment, So I was just like, I need to go to the gym if I'm going to how am I going to be an adult if I can't even lift my own stuff?
Yeah. Even, and that's a whole nother discussion and we don't have to go on, but functional lifting versus just lifting weights at the gym in a symmetrical fashion. So we also want to challenge and predispose the body to other ways to move because, again, lifting a dumbbell or a barbell overhead symmetrically, great. It's, again, I'm all for it. I love it. And that will help you do other basic things throughout the day, but sometimes we're going to have that cumbersome item, or it's just like you need strength that comes from every muscle, not just an isolated group.
Yeah.
And that really takes the most strength, or that's like getting people off the floor.
Compound lifts are best for that.
Yeah.
I refuse to do isolated.
Yeah.
I don't.
Not that they're bad, but you want to add in the variety too. And again, crossing all planes of direction and movement and making it more functional.
Yeah. I need to do more cardio.
I know, me too.
Yeah. Because I'm like lifting all this heavy weight and then I'm like going up and down my stairs doing laundry and I get up and I'm like,
But I do, I do feel though, it's like there's those of us who bias towards lifting, which I am more that. Chasing a ball was one thing, or like, fine, but I've never enjoyed running. And then you have the others who like hate lifting, but love running and biking, all cardio. And so it's like we often like, we also lean towards things we're good at. So it's like, if you're better at running, you're going to want to run more than lifting, and so, but usually if it's like, what area could I work on? It's the one you want to do least. Yeah. Because that's the one that's challenging you a little bit more. It's not as easy as whatever activity it is. That's fine. It's also like if you walk 2 miles a day, great, keep that up.
That's good.
If you're at the same pace and now it's like, it's not even taxing for you anymore. Like you might want to challenge the system a little bit.
I saw a study that most adults over 30 don't ever sprint again in their lives.
Yeah.
And I looked at that, I'm like, I need to do some cardio.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember. The last time I sprinted, it was to get away from like village police when I was skateboarding at like 16 and I hopped a fence. I don't even remember the last time I hopped a fence.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And not that I condone breaking the law.
Of course
not. That's a lot. Think about the strength.
Yes.
And the stability you have to jump over a fence.
To not pull something nowadays. Like as we age too, of like so our bodies should be designed to move on an instant, or even not in the sense of breaking the law, because yes, we don't condone that. But more of like, if there's a fire and you can't stretch to get up and get your ass out of the house or whatever, or find your family or your pets, whatever it is, you need to be able to just get up and run and do. And, if you tear your Achilles in that process because you're just so tight, it's like that could be very problematic in an emergency situation. Most of the time we're not in emergency situations, but we do still want to have our body resilient and capable of moving if in the event. And that's like, and also just like any sprinting or power movements, that helps us again with bone density, with like the tissue flexibility, mobility, etc., and then like reducing risk of injury, falls, especially with older adults. So if you have that like quicker movement and reaction times, that can help mitigate some of the other secondary impacts of age. Not all aging is bad. It's normal.
Yeah,
we're all gonna go through it.
We're all gonna croak at some point. Yeah.
Yes, it's the one guarantee in life. That's it. It's like, and we all hate death, but yet there's nothing else we can guarantee will happen.
Quality of life, and some people,
quality, yeah.
Some of my friends too, they'll be like, "Oh, what are you trying to do? Cheat death?" And it's like, no, I'm just trying to live a quality of life.
Yes.
I don't want to have to be in a retirement home at 75 and live to 100
or 55. I mean, there's like, and is a genuine factor right now with just sedentary lifestyles, chronic diseases that are influenced by lifestyle choices. Now, granted, we can't guarantee that something might not come up. It's out of our control. We all don't know what the future holds. It could be healthy, it could be not, even if you did quote unquote everything right. But the preventative stuff that we can control, that's we're still trying to optimize whatever you can. So you have that quality as you age, because I have a 70-year-old. I have her back squatting and front squatting and deadlifting. She's awesome. She gets on and off the ground. Well, it's still on like it's heavy for her. Okay. So that's where it doesn't matter what the.
No, I'm just curious because I saw a video of a 90-year-old deadlifting 405.
Yeah, it's capable. Like, people are capable of doing that, and if you condition. Now, granted, I don't think she wants to lift that heavy, so like that's also where though we're challenging her body with whatever weight. And some days it ebbs and flows because of her medical history.
Of course,
so it's But yeah,
it's important she's doing it, period.
Oh yeah, and she's healthier than a lot of 50-year-olds I know.
Well, yeah, you think about it. I mean, when you go down to pick up your laundry.
Yeah.
What is that? It's deadlift.
Yes, it is.
And it's a lot of 50-year-olds can't. Like, I look at some people, they have to like do this weird fucked up thing to get on the ground. I'm like, my brother in Christ.
Yes.
Go to the gym.
Yes. And it's like, or can't walk up and down the stairs holding something. You need to hold on. And it's just, there's so many components, or even if it is, like, that's what I say, even if it is due to a neurologic condition that you have, minimal control over, I'm biased towards movement. Movement's medicine.
Yes.
And that there's always ways that, yes, your safety, when you're in public, I want you holding onto the railing. That will forever be for whatever person, the reason why. But how can we make you safer so that maybe you can be talking on the phone while
Stairmaster.
There's function. Can you get on and off the Stairmaster? That's a whole nother thing. But that's where there's always ways to optimize whatever situation you're in, or get stronger, get more stable. And it takes that work. That's
now, you mentioned something earlier, being biased towards movement, like one movement over the other.
Yeah.
What would you recommend to someone, like a workout routine that encompasses everything essential for life, really? For a sedentary person.
I would say resistance training is that's just what we really want. It's kind of more of a old school way of thinking that especially let's say weight loss. Cardio is the way to go. It's actually no, weightlifting is.
Yes.
But then it's also not just weight loss. It's processing sugar. It's, utilizing different proteins, that nutrition comes into play. It's
nutrition's 90% of it.
Oh yeah. You need to fuel your body, and that makes all the lifting or all the workouts so much easier. And then you actually start to see the results. That's also hard though to do. Easier said than done. We all know we maybe shouldn't have the pizza and beer. We're going to do that time to time. That's fine.
Not every day.
Not every day. But yeah, I would say resistance training is so important as we age, because then if in the event of a fall, if your bones are stronger, just think kids fall all the time. They're not breaking bones every time. We need to build up that muscle mass to protect more systems and also process fat and become more energy efficient and have more energy.
When you say resistance training, what does that encompass?
Oh, that could be anything. And that varies.
Not
for
just
people.
resistance bands, but it could be weight training.
Oh yeah, weight training. For some people, it is just standing up and sitting down, from the chair. It all depends on. You can put a backpack on and walk around. For little kids, that's in a way a form of resistance training. They have heavy backpacks that. So their spine has to stabilize, and and that's resistance training. It could be, again, carrying groceries. So it can be as lower level of just day-to-day objects, or again, a 90-year-old. Some 90-year-olds might only be able to tolerate 5 pounds. That's still resistance training. And then you have someone who can tolerate 95 pounds, and that's resistance training. And that's where there's no one mold or one size fits all. And that's where we can find, there's so many options for people to
I'd even say
it.
never stop moving. I know you would agree with that. My grandfather, he takes care of 60 acres of property, and my grandmother, and he's 90.
Mm-hmm.
And he moves like he's 60.
Mm-hmm.
It is the craziest thing.
Yeah.
And he's in good shape.
Yeah.
Because he also has a purpose. And that's the thing too, is you have to have purpose behind what you do, because it's a lot of people go to the gym or do fitness because they're oh, I have to. Or it's not a status thing, an aesthetic thing. Oh, I want to look cool. I want to look hot. Yeah. And it's then there's people where it's I have a purpose for why I'm here.
Yeah.
And I'd say the biggest reason is find your purpose.
Yeah.
So I'd say for older people, don't you want to not spend thousands of dollars and being a nurse? Do you want to sell your house?
Yeah. Or what might be more of the motivating component is that they want to be present for their grandkids, or they want to be able to hug them because you have a toddler full speed ahead at you.
Running.
Yeah. And you're but you don't want to be knocked off balance and fall, or you want to be able to hold them if need be. So yeah, there's some certain things of financially, just being independent and living on your own. There's so many, yes.
And then not giving up hobbies.
Yeah.
People can't garden anymore. People can't go hunting anymore.
Yeah.
I would die if I couldn't go hunting anymore.
Yeah.
And I go duck hunting. So I'm on unstable ground. I have at least 15 pounds of equipment. Yeah. I'm long gun. And I'm in water,
Yeah.
You slip, you don't want to slip and fall.
No, you don't.
You don't. So it's always keep moving, and then losing your balance. And then that also comes to weight. If you're overweight, it's harder to maintain that center of gravity.
Yeah.
Because if you have a big gut, you're.
Yeah, or I would say too, there's there's people of all body types where you can be, though, deconditioned and weak, or you can be strong and fit as can be, and it's just, though, there could be an autoimmune, and that's there's so many components to every situation, every body. And, you know, some people are like, I'm so active and I'm still not dropping weight. And that's where there could be some, like, it's so much more complicated, or it's not as easy. But if you are a heavier looking person, but you're working out every day, you're in sick shape. You know, like you're healthy. You're still healthy. Yeah. It's more of when you're not doing anything. That's what leads to more, again, being able to mitigate an uneven terrain, or like there's so many.
Even with like blue collar guys, like I always still encourage, like, yo, do something.
Strong.
They're strong. Yeah. But they still need to go to the gym and keep moving in other ways. Yeah. Because a lot of it's strain.
Or what a lot of like the electricians I have, plumbers, handyman, it's all overuse, and they're never going to be in perfect form. They're picking up a cumbersome item. They're crouched in a hole, like hammering or doing something. So I'm like, your body, you have no choice but to be in this position because you have to get the job done. And a lot of it's overuse because you're going to hammer, nail, screw with the same arm typically. So I see more overuse injuries with that population. And it definitely it's tougher to treat when you have no choice but to continue using that same injured or compromised tissue. Now, granted, the body does get better. There is a way. And where, yes, they need more purposeful and non-symptom aggravating movement worked into their routine, you know, which is like they might be getting 12,000 steps in a day, plus doing so many other physical activities with their job duties. But then that's then the PT realm, how we calm those symptoms down when they're overused and when they're irritated and aggravated. So that's, you know.
What are some ways you do that?
I would that's where it depends. Depends on the person, depends on the situation. But it's like whether we try isometrics, whether we load other areas of the body. If your shoulder's bothering you, how can we work down the chain or the core in a different way, or work on mobility, or work on other components in the interim so that whatever's aggravated and hurting, we can get good movement in with less pain provoking symptoms. So it's just then, okay, it's moving, it's getting work, it's getting blood flow to the area, and now we can start to strengthen. And then when you go to your job, the symptoms should keep coming down, or as you're consistent with the rehab program, your symptoms should come down. And it, ebbs and flows throughout recovery, and again, harder when you have no choice but to be in that pain-provoking position for your job duty.
Would you recommend people in the trades do more weight training or more calisthenics-based training? Or does it really not matter?
Not so much. It all depends. Yeah, no, I would say it all depends on their body, their goals, their tissue tolerance, their job duties, all of that. And often there's usually never one best thing. As much as I said, yes, resistance training, I think if you had to lean towards something, I'd do that across the lifespan. But usually it's that combination of all different types. And sometimes we also need different things throughout our healing journey, or we need different, components. Maybe you need a little higher intensity because you're just so amped up and you have all this excess energy and you just got to sweat it out and you want to just release that stress and get a hard workout in. Other days you're I didn't sleep well. I don't feel good. It's that day, go on a lighter workout or more of a recovery-based workout, or maybe a walk or something that's, that will better help you than forcing yourself to do an intense workout.
Because then you're just going to get hurt again.
Or maybe not. Or it might, then who knows? Or then you're I'm just not hitting the numbers I want to hit as you would on a day you feel more optimal. Or again, a season in life. The new parent who's exhausted, they might the fact that they can get in more gentle movement initially, or maybe they can get in resistance training or strength training once a week, okay, and they could do it 4 times prior. That's okay. That's just the season of life you're in and it's still movement. Or again, you're more again, you have these overuse injuries and whatnot. So it's like, well, if your Achilles has been torn or you have tendonitis, whatever it is, and every time you do jumping jacks, it really hurts. It's like, well, maybe you shouldn't just keep doing jumping jacks, even though you love it. It's like you're going to the Olympics for jumping or, jumping rope, jumping jacks, everything. But right now it hurts. So how can we add in other movements that will still help you jump rope or do jumping jacks down the line, but for the time being, it can calm the symptoms so that that's not your limiting factor of pain, and you can work back up to that or incorporate it at a dosage that doesn't irritate the tissues as much. And that's again, whereas physical therapists, we play with all these components and we find out whatever is going to be the right, cocktail for you, basically.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what type of practice what type of strategies do you use in your practice that maybe other practices don't use, or you know what I'm trying to say? Like, what do you?
I'm definitely a big manual therapist, so I use a lot of hands-on techniques, like layman's terms, massage and stretch is kind of what people, then they love that part. Everyone loves it. I did too. I was like, I understand why you don't want to do a single exercise and would like this. Granted, it's also not an end-all be-all. I tell people, yes, I will help you feel good in this capacity. The money's in the movement. You got to follow it up with movement. But so then doing more advanced exercises, or just, again, usually it's a subtle fine tune with someone who could be moving pretty well, but from, an outsider's eye, but it's like, oh, no wonder your hip's bothering you here, because at this point in the squat, you're deviating. So something's still going on here. We're not able to be as balanced when we're challenging the body with this movement as you are with this one. And then I'm also very much functional movement based of, I don't care what we do, can you get the job done? And can you do it well and as efficiently as your body will allow? So, there's no perfect posture. There's no perfect form. There's optimal postures and optimal form. And we always strive towards working towards that. But yeah, if I have a 75-year-old lady whose spine is fused and that's, they're looking down and they're so rigid, I'm never going to get them up here. Their spine, I can't change bones.
What happened? What do you mean by spine fused?
Whether it changes with age, stenosis, spondylitis, scoliosis, whatever. Or just becoming rigid. So ane we're typing for 50 years and now they're kind of stuck in this position.
Ooh.
I can't change bone. You can only do that with a hammer and chisel, but we can change the muscle tissue and strength around the area and all the other connective tissue and whatnot. And so it's so when your spine is, very rounded up top, your shoulder mobility also becomes limited because we don't have that same thoracic extension. We don't have that full shoulder mobility. Oof. So again, her goal is to be functional. She's never going to get 180 degrees up here because the skeletal system will not allow it. Otherwise, we're just pinching tissues, it's going to be more pain-provoking, etc. But getting her here and here, a little bit of a change, is more optimal and it's functional. Can she reach into that high cabinet? So that's where I'm definitely more functional based of I'm not as concerned. I'm mindful. I'm not as concerned though. Are we getting 180 degrees to the T? It's are you able to grab whatever it is you need to? Are you able to do this pain-free?
Can you be independent?
Can you play whatever sport it is and not have your shoulder talk to you every time you throw 3 times and then your arm feels dead? So I'm more of we're going to figure out a plan to get there. Obviously being one-on-one, which a lot of clinics don't do, and that's sadly because of insurance companies driving the show and having to increase patient volume. That's where in our sessions, because it's the whole hour, I can treat multiple body parts. I can let people, tell me all their different goals, and we can do more manual therapy. We can do more personal training. We can do more physical therapy. It's whatever people need.
Cool.
And so you get a lot out of that hour opposed to just waiting on a hot pack and stim that I tell my patients, you can do that on your own time. There's a lot more that I can help you with that you'll be able to take with you and learn and empower yourself versus waste your time.
Yes. Yes.
So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah.
And I know you have a whole line of people out there waiting to bust down your door.
Yeah.
But why don't you tell us a little bit about what you... That's so weird that just shut off. Okay.
Oh, no.
It's okay. We got other cameras.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you got going on in the next week or so, event-wise, and what you got coming up next month as well.
All right. Yeah. So we have Mobility Mimosas at Corey Beach, 9 a.m. on August 24th. So that's this Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we have an hour. It's mobility, little strength training, little stretching, meditation at the end, and then we all enjoy a mimosa in the sunshine. So some light therapy as well.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And so it's our last one of summer. And then in September, we're doing the Patchogue Wellness Walk. So it's a free event for the community. You can come in and out of all the local health and wellness shops in town. So here at 157 North Ocean, we have Powerful PT, we have the Patchogue Wellness Center, and then you can continue walking up the block to Cryology, Float Place, all the Cheeky Peach, the library, and everywhere. And there'll be a ton of raffle baskets and goodies for walkers who participate to learn about businesses, get gift cards, get discount cards. So that's September 21st from 11 to 1:30. There's also going to be a car show that day. So for people who like both, last year my primary, he came for the car show, and I was like, don't worry, it's okay, I'll let it slide. His wife was like, we're coming to the wellness walk, and he's like, okay, and I'm just gonna happen to walk by the cars. And then I was like, that worked.
Awesome.
Yeah, so.
That's awesome. And where can people find you online, and what's your address?
All right, so Powerful PT on Instagram, and then or Dr.CatPowell_physio. And then again, now we're located 157 North Ocean in Patchogue. So we got the front of the building, you'll see our signage. And then
Great.
If you ever have any questions about PT, reach out and we'll be happy to help.
Great. Well, everyone, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Backpacking America. And Dr. Kat, thank you so much for being on our show, episode 299. Sadly, not 300. What the heck?
Almost there.
We're almost there.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. We are available on YouTube, Spotify, and all the major podcast platforms. So definitely give us a share and a listen.